It looks like the doors to the AFC East title just blew wide open for the New York Jets. We're going to react to whatever the hell we call yesterday for the Buffalo Bills and why they have the best chance, the Jets, to win the division since 2002. Let's roll. Zoinks! It is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans.
Field Yates, baby. Field Gosh darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show. Come on, people. Connor Rogers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor Gosh darn Sycamore, baby. For me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever been.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas.
Good Lord, have mercy. I don't think I've ever seen a day like yesterday, a random day in March 6th, Wednesday, for that kind of action to happen with the Buffalo Bills. And we'll recap all of it here in just a second. I'm Paul Esden Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. Welcome to Boy Green Daily. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Boy Green Daily is a daily video product, also available wherever you get your podcast in the audio-only version. The Buffalo Bills, and I say it in the headline, a ritual bloodletting. That is the only way to properly describe what transpired yesterday for the Buffalo Bills. And in its simplest form, FPP, appreciate you just subscribing. Make sure you guys like the video and also hit subscribe. Appreciate you. But the simplest way to describe what happened yesterday is evolution. The Bills have been getting away with paying Josh Allen, relative peanuts. Here are his cap hits over the last couple of years. 2021, $10 million. 2022, $16 million. 2023, this past season, $18 million. His cap hit this season, $47 million. That is the simplest way to describe what forcibly happened for the Buffalo Bills. They had to pay for the same thing at a much higher cost. Again, last year, only $18 million. This year, $47 million, and it continues to go up. Next year, it'll be a $56 million cap hit. And then it goes down from there, from that peak. In 2026, $52 million. In 2027, $45 million. And then in 2028, $41 million. But over the next 2 years, it's going to be the highest that it's going to be in his entire contract. Here are the moves that the Buffalo Bills made. Shout out to old Spot Track for detailing each of these moves so we can catch up on it. Okay? So here's everything that happened for the Buffalo Bills. Good Lord, and it's a lot. They announced 5 outright releases, one post-June 1 designation, a cap conversion, a renegotiated contract, 2 contract extensions, and 2 free agent signings. Here are the releases. They cut Mitch Morse. He was their starting center for the last 5 seasons for the Buffalo Bills. He's going to be 32 years old soon. From what I understand, this was a cap move for the Bills. So they dump Mitch Morse. Again, he was their starting center for the last 5 years, and they're going to kind of rearrange the deck. Their version of Connor McGovern, not our Connor McGovern, is jumping over to center. Okay, so that's one of the moves they made. Jordan Poyer, 7 seasons in Buffalo, formed one of the most dynamic safety duos in the NFL with Micah Hyde, who's also a free agent. I heard he's pondering retirement. So Poyer gets dumped. He hits the open market. Nyheim Hines. Now, he's a guy who got on that jet ski accident last year, didn't really play, but the year before in the DeMar Hamlin year, he had those back-to-back, or not back-to-back, but those 2 return touchdowns against the Patriots, really emotional moment. So he was kind of a guy they traded for from the Colts. That's kind of a whatever move. Deontay Hardy, wide receiver, also return man. They tried to approach him about a pay cut. They couldn't find the number, so they dump him. He just turned 26 years old. Saran Neal, he's a big special teamer for the Bills. He's been there since 2018. He's their version of Justin Hardy, basically, for our Jets conversion, to make that simple. They saved some money on Rasu Douglas. That's a former Green Bay Packers corner. They saved some money with a cap conversion on him. And they have their version. It's funny that I'm kind of converting this to Jet terms so people understand. Von Miller, he didn't take an Aaron Rodgers level pay cut that we saw last year, that Aaron Rodgers had a lot of rose petals thrown at his feet, but he did take a massive pay cut to make it happen. He's almost 35 years old. He had $10.7 million guarantee in the offseason. All of his $17 million base was about to become guaranteed here in a couple of weeks, but instead, the Bills gave him a $7 million signing bonus, dropped his base salary to $1.5 million, and added around $10 million of incentives. We don't know what those are yet, but based on the reporting, Spotrac says about $5 million of that are reachable incentives, and the rest will be negotiated up. Long story short, Bills create $8 million in cap space there. Here's the one that just hits him, and people will have differing perspectives on this. Tre'Davious White, the former first-round corner, this is the player the Bills got when they traded from 10 to 27. When the Chiefs launched up in the first round to get Patrick Mahomes, people forget that the Bills are the ones that handed Patrick Mahomes on a silver platter to the Chiefs anyway. But when they traded from 10 to 27, the player the Bills got was Tre'Davious White. Now, he's been brutally injured, unfortunately, for the Bills the last couple of years, but they're making him a post-June 1 designation. Now, what does that mean? The Bills are not going to get any cap savings till after June. So they're just eating this for now. So they're going to eat his cap hit. And then, let me rephrase that. The Bills will carry White's $16.4 million cap figure into June. So they have to eat that on the contract through most of this offseason. Then after that point, they'll get some cap relief. They'll take on a $6.2 million dead cap hit this year and a $4.1 million dead cap hit in 2025. They will open up $10 million cap space on June 2nd, which, as Spotrac reveals, that will help sign their draft class. But that's just a grenade they're eating. Brutal. And he was a dynamic player for them when healthy, but obviously the last couple of years have been injuries, so they just have to eat that one. And then they signed a couple of free agents. Those contracts aren't in. Mitchell Trubisky, they got their new backup quarterback, and then Matt Hack, punter and holder. But again, the key point in all of this is they're paying, despite the fact, let's address this real quick, despite the fact the NFL salary cap exploded to over $250,000, $255 million, still the Buffalo Bills had to do everything they did yesterday. And guess what? Even with everything I just said, they're still not cap compliant. According to Spotrac, NFL salary cap, they are still 28th in the league in cap space. They have negative $7.4 million. After everything I just said, they're still in the red. They're still at negative $7.4 million. So what does it all mean? What does it all mean? The AFC East is open. That's what it means. It means that the Bills' empire is cracking. Now, it's not over. What the Bills have to do, and this is much easier said than done, is do what the Jets did. They need to find a Sauce on a rookie contract. They need to find a Garrett Wilson on a rookie contract. So, think about their defensive backfield for a second. So, at safeties, right? So, you're moving on from Poyer, and it's unlikely Hyde's coming back from everything we're hearing. It looks like he's going to retire. So, this dynamic duo at safety, they're going to wipe away these proven veterans, and then hopefully plug and play youngsters in at the position. I saw they re-signed Taylor Rapp, so he's going to be one of their starting safeties. You ain't Jordan Poyer or Micah Hyde, but we'll see what happens there. But you have those two back there, and you're hoping for as close of the same production for a much cheaper value. That's what the Bills are doing. They're going to be doing that at all these other positions, because that's what happens when you have to pay a quarterback. $47 million cap hit. And again, the Bills, as of right now, as we're doing this, are still in the red, negative $7 million. After everything they did yesterday, they entered the day, I think, negative $40 million. And then they got to negative $7 million after what just happened. Let's break down the AFC East real quick. The New England Patriots are complete rebuild mode. The only chance they have to surge back up to the top of the division is drafting a CJ Stroud with the third overall pick, and he accelerates everything when you get the quarterback right. That's their only chance, because that roster is god-awful. I mean, at least for the Jets, you look at all these teams, you're like, you got Sauce Gardner, you got Garrett Wilson, you got all these blue chippers. The New England Patriots have that Christian Gonzalez kid at corner, who's interesting, but he just got hurt. Got Matthew Judon. Man, they got nothing on offense. I don't know, man. It is a disaster. So again, the time to attack is now. New England is going to be bottom of the division. So put them at fourth. Now let's talk about the Bills and the Dolphins for a second. The Miami Dolphins are about to pay Tua. We're just talking about, quarterback contracts. They're about to pay Tua, and apparently it's going to be more than the Joe Burrow contract. Good Lord. So we're talking like 300 million, 275 million, 250, whatever that number is going to be. So that's going to be wild for the Miami Dolphins. But they still got that offense, baby. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Tua. They're dangerous, but they just don't beat good teams. That's something they didn't do. They're flipping the defense again. Vic Fangio out. He goes to the Eagles. They bring in a new process there. What's going to happen? Not sure. But they didn't beat good teams last year. So you're kind of like, if the Jets step up, what are they? So that one, let's see what happens. Let's go to the Buffalo Bills. I think the Bills, and this just in general, the Bills always have a chance when you have a quarterback. And Josh Allen is one of the best quarterbacks in football. There's no denying that. He's been able to make things happen. So they'll always have a chance. But it's going to be a lot harder to do it now that his cap hit is as high as it is. Now you got to work around it. Hell, the Patrick Mahomes had a super high cap hit last year. They won the Super Bowl. So I'm not saying it's impossible for the Buffalo Bills, but it's a lot more difficult, which, again, it opens up the door for something to happen for the New York Jets. Again, the Jets, we got to handle our own business, obviously, of course. But the door is open, baby. When I saw these moves, I just cracked a smile. I went, interesting. Yes. Are we getting something spicy here, potentially, for the Jets? And I know a lot of Jet fans are down right now. I understand. A lot of Jet fans are down right now. Not me. I still have AFC East hopes, Super Bowl hopes, playoff hopes, all the like, baby. I'm all in. You have Aaron Rodgers. You fix this offensive line. Easier said than done, I understand. The defense is great. You just got to fill a couple of, man, do we want Flowers on this side or this side? That's what's happening on defense. Safety this, safety that, figure out that. Interior defense line, this, that, or the other. Okay, boom. Defense done. Presto. Defense done. Offense, all right, there's some things to do. You got to get Garrett Wilson, find a Robin to his Batman. Got to get a couple of offensive linemen, 3 starters, some depth as well. I need another running back. Not a major need, but, another veteran running back that could chew up carries because you're going to have leads in theory that you're going to want. You don't want Breece Hall, like at the end of the season, having 40 friggin' carries. You never want that for Breece, so you want some guy that's there. It could probably be veteran minimum or relatively close to it. Dirt cheap, throw that in the backfield. You need a wide receiver 2 or 3. Again, that could come free agency, that could come draft. It could get like a Calvin Ridley, Cortland Sutton, whoever, and then wide receiver pick 72. That could be possible. And we'll be talking about coming up live at 3 o'clock today. I'm going to reveal the top 5 players the New York Jets should call when the legal tampering period opens on Monday at noon. I will reveal, again, my top 5 players. That's coming up at 3 o'clock, so I hope you guys can join us live for that. All right, everybody, let me dive in. There's a ton of comments here, so I will try to dive in. If you send in a super chat, it skips the queue, baby. So make sure you guys support the channel, like the video, hit subscribe. Let me go through the comment section. Let me see what I can do here. Cracks knuckles. All right, let me try to find some. Whoa, mamacita. Okay, we got a bunch of. We got like 300 people in here right now. So okay, excellent. All right. Okay, let's skip around. Try to see if we can find some questions here. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thank you for all that. I appreciate it. Good morning. Q for Boy Green. Okay, let's show this one up. Johnny. All right. So Aaron Jones might be getting cut by the Packers if he doesn't take a pay cut. Would the Jets take a swing at him and boom, our veteran running back is set up? Yeah, which I was just talking about a few minutes ago. Aaron Jones, I think he played so well, obviously, at the back end of the season and the playoffs, that he might get some money. But the thing that hurts him probably is this is the greatest running back free agent class of all time. Saquon Barkley, Tony Pollard, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, just off the top of my head. And then you throw Aaron Jones in the mix. I mean, this is just a very deep pool. And that deep pool could hurt everybody because then the rest of the league could go, well, if we don't get Saquon, we could get this guy. If we don't get this guy, we could get this guy. So that could lower it. That could actually hurt more than help. When there's like one guy in the market, everyone's like, ooh, that's the only guy that's available. When there's a lot of guys available, that could be different. Of course, would I love it? Could Aaron Rodgers' recruitment magic potentially help a guy like that come to the Jets? Absolutely, of course. He'd be a great guy to have, obviously. You need a little bit of that Aaron Rodgers magic, but the 1-2 punch of Breece Hall and Aaron would be great. Again, the split is always going to be 60-40, 70-30, leaning towards Brees, obviously. But it's an important role in the offense I think a lot of people overlook. They're like, no, Brees is the guy. Izzy can do it. Izzy has shown nothing that he can do it. He had 70 yards rushing last year, and the coaches called him out for his lack of pass blocking. How in God's green earth is that possibly a reliable number 2 to Brees? If Brees goes down, are you comfortable with Izzy? I'm sure as hell not. So, but he should be number 3 and develop and get better. Be Brees, random veteran running back, RB3 Izzy. That should be the group, as far as I'm concerned. It's a need not a lot of people are talking about. Again, it's not my number 1 call. It's not even my top 5 calls of filling the running back position. But it is something that I think needs to be discussed. Avatar on YouTube. Curious the Bills go wide receiver 2 or cornerback. Yeah, I've heard a couple of things. Offensive line is another one. An interior guy I heard from some Bills people. I haven't done any full first-round mock drafts yet, so I haven't really dove in on that. But you're right. It is probably wide receiver 2 because Gabe Davis is unlikely to return from what I heard. So then you got to find whoever the Robin is to Stephon Diggs Batman. And then Hardy's gone. So is Khalil Shakir jumping to wide receiver 2? That seems unlikely. So they need a wide receiver 2. Maybe they're going to dip their toe in the big veteran free agent market. So it's another thing to consider for the Buffalo Bills. Actually, I'm talking to a Bills guy that's coming up with Anthony on my radio show. 10:30 today. 10:30 today on my radio show. I will get all the juicy deets on what all this means from a Bills perspective. That could be very interesting. Let's see. Avatar again. Losing Poyer is interesting. Heard he might stay in division to the Fish. He'd actually be really interesting for the Jets too. But yeah, there might be a Miami thing. He's got, I think Rachel Bush is his wife. Congratulations, Jordan Poyer. But yeah, they may go down south, but I think it could be Dolphins or Jets. Jets obviously have a safety need. Their only starter on the team is Tony Adams. You have Jerk Bernard Converse if you count him as a safety. The Jets technically list him as that on their roster, but they need other guys. They're probably going to bring one of the guys back of either Chuck Clark, Ashton Davis, or Jordan Whitehead. But you need, as Connor Rogers has said beautifully, 3 starting caliber safeties on the team. I'd like Poyer, and I'm sure he'd like to give it back to the Bills. He did not seem very happy from his family around him. Or what was it, his brother or something? I don't know. I just saw it. Like his brother called Brandon Beane an idiot. He called Brandon Beane an idiot for that. So that did not go over well from that perspective. All right, YouTube Super Chat jumping in. Again, that skips the queue. Phil sending this in. Thanks, brother, on YouTube. Cortland Sutton from Denver. Likely? Thoughts for 4th? The Jets have 2 4th-rounders this year, thanks to the Jacob Martin trade where they swapped a 5th and a 4th. 4th is where I would go on Cortland Sutton. The Jets have the 1st round pick, obviously 10th overall. That's not happening. They don't have a 2nd round pick. That's the Aaron Rodgers trade. 3rd round pick is 72 overall. That feels a little bit rich, but if that's what had to be done, I'd be willing to do it because of what Cortland Sutton is. Manageable contract over the next 2 years. Fits the Aaron Rodgers timeline. Big touchdown getter. I think Aaron Rodgers, high tide will rise all boats. So whatever Cortland Sutton has been, I think will be even better with Aaron Rodgers. He'd be a great guy to get. Like, if we start kind of gallivanting about what could possibly be for the Jets wide receiver room, there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of possibilities. You have Garrett Wilson, number 1. Could have Cortland Sutton and Calvin Ridley, 2 and 3. That could make sense potentially if you really want to dip your toe in the water. It could be a Cortland and then a rookie. Again, I'm interested in Keenan Allen if you could trade for him. Again, my high tide, of course, is Devontae Adams trade if somehow you can make that happen. But if you're being more reasonable to kind of diversify your assets, a 4th round pick, you have 2 4ths. Like, let's make that happen. This is easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now, the only thing I don't know, and Badlands has said this too, what is the relationship between Sutton and Hackett? I don't know. But maybe it doesn't matter if there's Aaron Rodgers there. So something to consider. But this is a slam dunk move. This is, I don't know if it'll be as dynamic as some of our wide receiver trades of the past. Brandon Marshall for a 5th round pick, Santonio Holmes for a 5th round pick, Braylon Edwards for a 3rd and a 5th, historically speaking, over the last 15, 20 years. But that's the kind of waters they should be dipping in. Veteran market, because let's be honest. Let's just be straight. Are you getting Cortland Sutton in the 4th round? Probably not. You're probably not getting what Cortland Sutton is right now in the 4th round. That's probably unlikely. So, BDD bada dee boop, boom. Trade it for a fourth. And here's why. You may say, why the hell would the Broncos do that? They're in cap hell. They just took on the largest dead cap hit in NFL history, $85 million on Russell Wilson. So they're going to have to make some business decisions with that roster, which could include shipping off, one of those, when those stores have the closing for business sale and they're just moving product, they're just everything must go. That's basically what's happening here. So I think they could get Courtland Sutton at a nice price. I'm sure a lot of people may be interested in Sutton, but he's a big boy. Who would diversify the receiver room, give you that red zone threat, big boy 50-50 balls. Yeah, there's a lot to like about Courtland Sutton. So good question. Good question there. All right, I don't know where the hell I was, but again, Super Chat skipped the queue, so feel free. The free way all of you can contribute. The 350 people that are in the room right now. Make sure you like the video. It's a free way to contribute. Also, hit that subscribe button, baby. We're well over 6,000 subs. We appreciate you. Okay, let me try to skip around here and try to see. There's a lot of questions here. Sorry, I'll try to do the best I can filtering through this. But like I said, the Super Chat skipped the queue. Yeah, like for instance, that's a good point. Tinstar here about the Finns have to find their money for their DT. They're letting Christian Wilkins hit the open market. They cut Xavier Howard, excuse me. Like the Dolphins aren't in great standing either. Let me double check the salary cap space for Miami. Where do they stand? Yikes. So here it is. Miami is 30th in the NFL with negative 15 million in cap space. The Bills are 28th with negative 7 million. The Jets are just above league average. They have 27.5 million right now. And the Patriots obviously have number 3. They have $78 million. We'll see what they do with that kind of funky money, excuse me. At first, Gerard Mayo said, we got cash to burn. I was like, okay, maybe the Patriots are going to be going a little wild here. But then he walked it back and said, well, we have to be pragmatic. And I was like, oh, okay. So TBD on that. The Patriots have a lot of money. The Bills and Dolphins do not. Again, negative 15 and negative 7. They have to be cap compliant by the opening of the league year, which technically is next Wednesday. We're less than a week away from it. So we're getting there, baby, is Wednesday. Is free agency. Monday's legal tampering period. So, yeah. Talk about that. Like, they didn't have money to keep their own big boy. So, yep. They're in a tough spot, which I enjoy thoroughly. Let's see. Jets have a 2-year window. We might be in the same spot. Bills did find a tight end stud and wide receiver 3 in the last few drafts. Sure, yeah. Kincaid looks pretty good. They did pay a lot of money to Dawson Knox, so we got to figure it out. But you're right that eventually, think about the Jets situation, right? Sauce Gardner, highest paid corner in football. That's happening. Garrett Wilson, probably top 5, top 10, highest paid wide receiver in football. That's coming. Jermaine Johnson's hard to kind of tell where he's going to be, but that's going to be a big deal. Breece Hall, what are you doing there? DJ Reed is a free agent next year. Michael Carter II is a free agent next year. So, right, that's why I'm saying the time is now. Now, it's cool to hear Aaron Rodgers say, I'm going to play 2, 3, 4 more years. Phenomenal. You give me Aaron Rodgers for as long as he wants to be here, as far as I'm concerned. That is spectacular. But you got to take advantage of this time right now. Sauce, Garrett, all these guys on rookie contracts. Win now. And they have a chance to win. I don't think this is a bunch of hubbub. I think I'm being straight up. The AFC East is open. It's open for business. Trevor Sikkema said it on our show yesterday. I hope you guys check that out. Trevor Sikkema of PFF. That's both in our live section and our video section. You can watch it in either. We had 30-plus minutes with Trevor. He was very generous with his time. He thinks the division is open, and so do I. It is open for business, but you got to take it. That's a blunt truth. But it is a good point of it's all that, again, the Jets are going to have to pay their piper soon enough, too. Let's go with a couple other questions here. Tinstar says, get us Tyron Smith, Armarius Mims, Patrick Paul, and 2 third-round picks, and we win the East. Good Lord have mercy. That's a little aggressive. I'm all aboard Tyron Smith, but I'll explain that more coming up live at 3 o'clock. Armarius Mims, I'm not completely sure. And Patrick Paul, I don't know where we're getting all these guys, because like Patrick Paul, isn't he like round 2 guy? And then we only have 1 third-round pick right now. So there's a lot to figure out there. But I'm not sure who Tinstar is representing. I assume the Jets. But, yeah, there's a lot to figure out there. A lot of names. I like Tyron Smith, though. That's for sure. I've seen a lot of Jet fans tag me in this on Twitter. NYJetsFL on YouTube says, I still think we could take Mitch Morse and slide Tippmann to guard if necessary. Mitch Morse has been a very solid center for the Buffalo Bills. I don't think he's been among the best centers in the NFL. I don't think he's been among the worst. He's just been rock solid. For me, personally, to move Tippmann, unless Morse is going to take some sort of dirt cheap money, like I want to do everything in my power to move everything else before moving heaven and earth to move Tippmann to guard. I like Tippmann at center where he is. Like, again, I explained this a couple shows ago. If Nick Mangold, arrived on our doorstep, prime 22-year-old Nick Mangold, I'm like, okay, you're a starting center, Tippmann to guard. Like, if it was just an overwhelming scenario that you couldn't resist, like, booyah, here is Nick Mangold, here is Kevin Mawai. You're like, wow, we have no other choice. We must kick Tippmann to guard. That's where I'm willing to move Tippmann. I don't want to move Tippmann for, with all due respect, shits and giggles. I don't want to just move him to move him. Like, he has versatility. That's nice. But his sample size of his rookie season is much larger at center than it is guard. Muy pequeño. Center, guard, hefty, wimpy. You get what I'm saying? So, I don't want to move him just for nothing. But I'd move him if the right center was available, I guess. You trade back into Jackson Powers Johnson, and then you start having conversation about who plays where? Maybe. Yeah, Whitney is a good point on our YouTube page. If Calvin Ridley signs elsewhere, pivot to the O-line, build the wide receiver in the draft, tons of talent there. I agree with some of this. Calvin Ridley, now because of the bippity-boppity franchise tag and everything else, right? Like T. Higgins gone, Michael Pittman gone, Evans wasn't gone from the tag. He ended up re-signing, but you wiped a lot of the names off the board. Now your top names are like Calvin Ridley and I don't remember who the other guy is, but that's probably my point is that, Calvin Ridley is everyone's going to want him now because he's like the only guy who's left of significant note. And the money could get crazy pretty quickly. If I'm the Jets, I take a step back and then we revisit that Sutton thing. I call back the Raiders about Devontae Adams. Okay, what's it going to take? I know you said no, but you didn't really say no. What really is it? Because what were the Raiders going to come up to the podium and say? Yeah, we're in the business of trading Devontae Adams. Then their phones light up, and then they hurt their own trade thing. Only Woody Johnson would say, yeah, Zach Wilson. We didn't have a backup last year, and hurt their trade value publicly. So I'd go back to the Raiders. I'd go to the Broncos on Cortland Sutton. I'd go to the Chargers, who have some cap problems for Keenan Allen or Mike Williams, as some other people brought up. I haven't really talked about that name yet. Those are the things I'm exploring. If Ridley's gone, it's not just talent in the draft, because I don't want to give Aaron Rodgers a bunch of young guys. We saw how that happened in Green Bay, but I'd be looking for veterans that we know what they are. We don't have to guess. I'm fine with one receiver, like 72 overall. You want a receiver? Sure. Bring him in the room. But I would pivot to the veteran trade market personally. If all of a sudden Calvin Ridley's $20+ million, I don't know. Yes, Williams says, could the Jets use Poyer? Absolutely. Could they only have one starting safety on the roster? Is he still effective? Absolutely. You have to understand what he is. Let me double check age for Poyer. What is he now? He is 32. Yeah, he's still got. Let me see when does he turn 33? 1 second here. He is 32. Turns 33 right around my birthday. He's the day before my birthday. Okay, so 33 again. This is the path the Jets should take, though. The Aaron Rodgers thing, get a bunch of guys to sign 1-year deals to fill holes. Jordan Poyer, hey, jump on the championship ride, pal. Poyer, 1-year deal. Calais Campbell, Fletcher Cox, Foley Fatukasi, 1-year deal. Come on for the ride, baby. 1 year, relatively cheap. Boop, hop on. We're going for the championship, baby. I don't know. That's the strategy. 2010, getting Jason Taylor and all these other dudes. Come on the train, baby. Trade for Santonio Holmes. Do all this stuff. Let's get funky. Let's add people to the ride. Toot, let's roll. That's my mentality. And let's get frisky. I don't know if I would call it a Buffalo Bills rebuild. They have Josh Allen, so that part of it isn't. But it's a restructuring, a realignment, call it whatever you want for the Bills, where they had to make some big boy decisions, and they're still in the negative as of this show. Let's see. Sutton is tall. Yes, he is. I like Sutton. Avatal talked about Matt Milano. He's the heart and soul of the Bills defense. When they lost him, it decimated them. Absolutely. And I heard from Sal Capaccio, shout out to my guy, WGR550. Matt Milano is a diehard Jets fan. So, hey, you want to come over to the Jets, pal? Let's make it happen. Yeah, LaSauce is our general manager. LaSauce doing that work. He'll help us. Hey, he got us Aaron Rodgers last year, so LaSauce, baby. Yes, sir. Liquidation sale in Denver. I agree. Cortland could be gone. I don't really want Jerry Jeudy. I prefer Cortland Sutton. Let's see. Fill out DT. Yes, I agree. Again, Shadow Realm. I talked about it earlier, but I'm not bumping Tippmann to guard and signing a veteran center for no reason. There's plenty of guards out there. I don't think we have to go to these lengths. Again, give me the right situation, like a market drives up quicker, and then they're like, hey, all we could get is a center. I'm like, all right, let's figure it out. But again, that's not a move I would be seeking. That's a good question. What happens if a team is over the cap? I don't know. I just know you can't be over the cap when the league year starts. So there must be some sort of penalty. I don't know that off the top of my head, though. Yeah, the Houston Texans could be collecting a lot of these guys like X, Saquon and stuff. Yeah, they're a fun team. C.J. Stroud's still incredibly young, but you saw what he did against our defense, baby. Shut that right down. Yep, the Jets should re-sign all those guys. I like Tyler Conklin, too. He's a good friend of the program. A.J. Dillon, sure. Yeah, more Packers. Why not? Oh, wow, you guys are going crazy here. All right. Let's see. Get Ridley. Get everyone as much as possible. Let's see. Let's go to this one. Luke Rosenthal. You excited for David Bakhtiari to come to the Jets? Probably getting released in the next couple days, Boy Green. Yeah, I mean, not as a starter, though. Like, I'm not grabbing David Bakhtiari, signing him and going, booyah. Well, left tackle's done. No, there's no circumstance where that's happening. But where he's in the room, like, let's say you get Tyron Smith and David Bakhtiari. I know that's a lot of injury there. Or you somehow, like you trade up for Joe Alt, and then you also have David Bakhtiari in the room. How does that hurt? Phenomenal. Add more bodies to the room. Be prepared. Hope for the best. Expect the worst. So, yeah. Again, he's Aaron Rodgers' best friend. If he gets cut, I think it's inevitable he's coming here, and hopefully on a very dirt cheap deal with a lot of incentives. So, like, if he doesn't play and he's a backup, okay, fine. You paid him nothing. And then if he does play and reaches the incentives, those incentives would likely equal that he's healthy. And if he's healthy, he's been an all-pro in the past. So sign me up. That's a low-risk, high-reward kind of move. And they need as many bodies on the offensive line as possible. So that's how I would answer that, Luke. Good question. All right. Mid-staff. Good question. Are you willing to throw away the future to make one or two runs and then just fall off a cliff? I will assume, Mitch, what you're saying here on throw away the future is we put ourselves in such a compromising cap position that Garrett Wilson, Sauce and stuff, now we got to make decisions like we can't pay him. No, I'm not willing to do that. But I don't think it's this or that. I think you can make a legitimate, serious run of being aggressive this offseason and still being able to pay. It's just about cap theory. I don't know if that's a real term, but I just made that up. It's cap theory. It's being able to look now. A GM's job is to have a foot in the now and a foot in the future at the same time. Now, that's hard for Joe Douglas because he don't win this year. He ain't in the future. But you know what I mean? But it is balancing those two worlds. And I think you can make an aggressive run this year and still be able to pay everybody. You just got to be paying attention. And I don't think Joe Douglas will go to a reckless degree where we run out of money in the coffers and Garrett Wilson's also like, see ya. No. So, no, I don't think you have to make that decision. But it's smart and, it's worth bringing up, Mitch. It's not a dumb comment at all. It's very, it should be talked about that you have to be intelligent. You have to be intelligent. Like the Calvin Ridley thing, right? Let's say he gets to, I'm making this up, $25 million a year on like a crazy $100 million deal, like the A.J. Brown contract, basically, which I think his was 4 years, $100 million. If you pay him $100 million, then Garrett Wilson's like, whoa, what the hell? Like, that's the part we're talking about. That's where we get like, maybe we should just trade for Cortland Sutton for 2 years instead of Calvin Ridley for 4 on the crazy money. Like, those are the decisions that we'll have to see. Big Daddy, if the Jets make one big splash move, what would you like to see? Again, coming up live at 3 o'clock, we will be doing my top 5 Jets players that they should call when legal tampering opens up. One big splash. It's on the offensive line. I mean, to be honest, if they can only make one, it's offensive line. 1,000%. Give me one of the sexy guards. I have my list over here. Onwenu, Robert Hunt, Kevin Dotson, Tyron Smith. Like, those are the kind of moves. I don't think Tyron is the... Okay, let me rephrase that. Tyron Smith would be important for the Jets because he plays left tackle, but I don't think it would be like a 5-year, $100 million deal. He's an older veteran. I think it'll be cheaper than that, but like, that's an important move. A big guard. Give me a juicy guard right off the top. Plug and play one spot right off the top. That would be my perspective for the Jets heading into this, especially after the Laken Tomlinson cut decision and getting that bonus $8 million. I wasn't anticipating. I thought they were going to bring it back on a reduced rate. That $8 million plus the pile you already have, you could totally get a big time guard, and I hope they do very aggressively. Let's see. Ricky in New York, which told last night Quandre Diggs to Jets is almost a lock. That would be interesting. Okay. More likely than that other starting safety for the Seattle Seahawks, but interesting. I like it. Yeah, something's going to have to happen at safety. Let's see. Okay, let's get some final questions in here. Again, everybody, we've got 450 people in the room. I friggin' love it, everybody. Thanks for all the support. Make sure you guys like the video. Hit subscribe, baby. Spread the good word. We are live every single day at 7:30 in the morning. So, yeah, baby, we appreciate it. And twice on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm live at 3 o'clock as well, right here on the channel. Let me see. Where are we at here? Okay, I think we got through all the questions. All right, everybody. Booyah. Thanks for joining us. And let me just reiterate the initial message, and it's this. The door to the AFC East is wide open for the Jets. The Buffalo Bills, after all the moves they made, and I'll recap them real quick. Here are all the moves that the Buffalo Bills made, in case you missed the beginning of the show. They dumped Mitch Morse. He was their starting center for the past 5 years. He's gone. Jordan Poyer was there for 7 years. He's gone as a starter at safety. Nyheim Hines, again, he's kind of a whatever move, part-time running back special teamer. But he got in that jet ski accident, so he didn't play last year. Deontay Hardy, tried to get him to take a pay cut. He wouldn't take it, so move on from him. He was wide receiver 3 or 4 on the team. Sharon Neal, he's our Justin Hardy special teamer version. Rasul Douglas takes a cap conversion. Von Miller takes a massive pay cut. That helps them. Tre'Davious White, the Bills will carry $16.4 million all the way through June of a number they can't touch. And then they eat dead cap hits in this year and next year. So just a massive grenade they just ate. The Bills are altering their entire philosophy and changing the whole shish kebab, and that opens the door for the Jets. The Dolphins are about to pay Tua like $250 million. That helps the Jets. The New England Patriots have a lot of money, but their roster is a disaster, and I think it's going to take them a few years to get in the right headspace, and that opens the door for the Jets. Easier said than done. We still got free agency next week. We have the draft, of course. The Jets got to figure out the offense. All my resources for me are being poured onto the offensive side of the football. Offensive line, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, throw another tight end in there maybe, but the tight end room isn't crazy. I'm probably fine with what it is. Throw another veteran running back, and let's ride, baby. Aaron Rodgers, the Jets, AFC East champs. Order that 2024 AFC East championship gear. The Jets haven't won the division since 2002. I think we are due, baby. All right, everybody. I'll see you live at 3 o'clock. Again, at 3 o'clock, we'll be talking about my top 5 players the Jets should be on the phone with as soon as the legal tampering period opens up at noon coming up on Monday. Again, like the video, hit subscribe, show your support, baby. We'll be back at 3 o'clock. Hopefully I'll see you guys there. Thanks for tuning in to Boy Green Daily. We'll see you. God bless.